All right, I know not everybody attended the class on Thursday. Satya, shame on you. Shujan was up all night attending the class. I'm just kidding. I was not expecting him to be up and, you know, yes. All right. There's one thing that in the last class I talked about, that there's a subdosha of pitta, and there's, of course, you know, the subdosha of vata that is part of digestion. Do you remember anything? You can put it in the chat. What is the subdosha of one vata, pitta, that are part of digestive process? You remember? You don't have to know. I mean, we just did the class, but it would be nice if you remember something. Yes. Pachak, samana. Yes. So that would be in the stomach area. Is there anything that is protecting the lining of the stomach that is part of the process? That makes sure that acid doesn't burn and makes a hole in the lining and eats away the lining of the stomach. Yes, kleda kapha. Exactly. Remember, Pachak is the acids, Saman is what makes everything move. And what about when things are getting eliminated from the body, down from the intestine? What Vata is helping in that elimination? Okay. All right. Next time, somebody else other than Shujan answer. But you got it, right? You can't just say this is Vata, this is Pitta, this is Kapha, and separate them. They work together in different parts of the body in different processes. So you have learned about Pachak, Pitta, Samana, Vata, Apan, and I talked about Kledak in the last class. All of them together help in digestion, and that's pretty much what this slide is about. Let me save this for you. So we're going to do a little bit about the elementary tract, the gastrointestinal tract, starting from our mouth to the to our intestines. Bottom of the intestine is called annavahasrotas. The last part of the intestine, which ends up in opening as a rectum, also is called purishavahasrotas, which we are not getting into now. So just your elementary tract from beginning to end is your annavahasrotas. What is a srota? Does anybody know? Yes, yes. Srota is like a channel or a river or a tube, and anyway where things are going from one end. Srotas usually have a mula, mukha, and marga. That means it has an origin, it has an opening, and it has a path. So every srota in body has an origin. You can take your elementary tract, you can take your respiratory tract. It starts from somewhere, it ends somewhere. And it has an opening somewhere. Our mouth is an opening. Our nostril is an opening, for example. So there's an origin and there's an opening and there's a path that it takes. Okay? And this is something that we do in Ayurvedic anatomy in AC 107. And we do it a lot. Yeah. So today we are just going to start, and the only srotas that we talk about in AC 102 is Annavahasrotas. But we kind of started you in the process of srotas. And then you learn about Manovahasrotas, in Pranavahasrotas, in Ayurveda and the mind. And we will talk about Ajirna Atisara Vibandha Grahani. This is indigestion. Atisara is diarrhea. Vibandh is constipation. And Grahani is anything related to the large intestine. No, even I would just write intestine. I mean, this could be colitis, this could be Crohn's disease. Oops. That's like on the top of my head what I could think of. But anything kind of related to malabsorption. And it is actually pretty easy to find out if someone is having something, or ama. Is usually when that happens, when you look at a person's tongue, for example, if someone has an issue with the liver or pancreas or pancreatitis or something. Now, if you don't have not studied these things, you don't know what it is, watch the class again and go and research it. But the idea is that may not show up in the tongue because it's in the organs, the organs of the digestive system that are secondary organs that are not. So what is showing up in the tongue is your stomach and intestine. That immediately shows whatever's happening in your stomach and intestine in the tongue. Very easy to pinpoint. That is why we start you on this, because you'd be able to help people with these issues as soon as you look at your tongue, because it's part of the counselor scope. Now, would you be able to find out if someone has pancreatitis or someone has parasites? Don't think so. That's not in the scope. But this is something that's in the scope. So from day one, I'm starting it, and this is a big problem. People have digestive issues. And you will see people who have serious digestive issues. I mean, celiac even. I won't write celiac, I'll write just like gluten intolerance. Even Hashimoto's, actually. Or they might have a disease where they can't, they have a natural gluten intolerance, even though Hashimoto's has got really nothing to do with digestion. But people, they have seen that with Hashimoto's, sometimes they have gluten intolerance, but not celiac, because that's kind of a, disorder. They don't have the genetic markers and antibodies. So not that. So these are some of the issues, and that's why I wanted to discuss them in the forum. So you'd have a portfolio of, okay, a person having flatulence, gas, and whatnot. And all of these diseases happen in where? In Annavaha Srotases. Okay? The doshas that are associated with digestion are Ranjak Pitta, Pachak Pitta, Bodhak Kapha, Kledak Kapha, Pranavayu, Samanavayu, Vyanavayu, Apanavayu. That are directly related are Pachak Pitta. Now, I have discussed what are the subdoshas of Vata and subdoshas of Pitta in the last class. If you haven't gone back and reviewed it, please do, because things just get harder from here. And I'm not going to explain, oh, Pachak Pitta is this, because I think I explained it in a lot of detail in last class. So please take that. Things are difficult in AC 103. So, but the good news is when you come back from your summer vacation, we'll start you off with something easy, so ease you into it. Pachak, Bodhak, Kledak, these are directly. Ranjak is in the liver. We talked about that, right? Bodhak Kapha is your salivary enzymes. Again, we talked about that last time. Kledak is the lining of the stomach. Pachak is the enzymes. Pran, what does Pran got to do? Remember that drawing that we had? Pran is the organizer of the, when the food is being metabolized. If a person is low on Pran, nothing ain't happening. Nothing's happening. Things will come to a stop. So Pran is the organizer. Pran makes sure that everything is getting organized, right? Apan, you already know. So all of these sub-doshas are part. So when you start looking at people with indigestion or diarrhea or constipation or issues related to grahani, malabsorption, colitis, and whatnot. So one of the things is these people will already be on a very strict diet, or maybe somebody whose gallbladder was removed. right? One of the things that you could do is you could put them in a very, give them a diet plan and food that is very easy to digest, right? And that is would be your scope. Give them recipes and give them herbs that are easy to digest. Ask them to avoid, because they would already be going to when someone has these issues, they're already going to a nutritionist. Does that make sense? They're already going to a registered dietitian. And why are they coming to you? Because obviously one of the things they come to you is that they don't know what to eat. Like, what should I eat? I get people who have diabetes and like, they can't eat anything. What should I eat? And give you example of one of our students. She was, one of my dearest students, and now she's my friend too. She was a teacher. She was in her 50s, and she got diagnosed with diabetes. It was adult onset diabetes. She comes to me for a consultation, and she said, I can't eat anything. And I said, well, this seems like, your vata is out of order. She didn't even eat a lot of sweets or anything, not even alcohol, very good diet. I thought it was an immunity issue. And so we started treating that. And then she goes in and they said, well, your diabetes is cured. We were wrong. She's like, what? Are you serious? And then she got so impressed with Ayurveda, she came and did the counselor course. She's like, yeah, no, it's gone. It's finished. There's nothing. So it was just treating the ojas, just to give you an example. It was such a crazy thing that she's diagnosed and 6 months later she has nothing. She's still totally fine because she was following Ayurveda. Anyway, one of the most important thing is we recognize the role of sense organs, and so there is a mental aspect to food. When you think about food, when you smell food, the process of Agni is started. The Agni, as soon as the brain gets the message, there is food, and it's lunchtime, or there's food, and there's, it starts the process of digestion. And what lives in the brain that is starting the process? Top of the brain. What lives there? It is the seat of, what is the seat of the prana? See, this is something you need to memorize. Prana, top of head, is living inside the brain. It's living inside on the top of head. Soon as you smell something, thinking of food, prana is immediately doing an organization. It's sending a message. All the nervous system is working. It's sending a message to your enteric nervous system. Mouth starts watering. Bodha kapha comes into play. Enzymes are getting secreted. Pachak pitta comes into play. Do you see what is happening? This is the start of digestion from Ayurvedic perspective. How prana, bodha, kapha, pachak, pitta, everything's working together. And that's what I meant by prana as the organizer. Does it make sense? I guess it does. Okay. So one of the questions that you ask in the forum, appetite is basically a good indication, right? That our system is working properly. We want to have good, healthy appetite. I'm kind of running out of time. I don't know if Dr. Aparna is there yet. Let's see. She is. Aparna ji had a dream about you. It was so nice. I'll tell you later. But I'm sure Aparna ji has heard it 1,000 times. I complain about it. I used to live in Escondido and had an office there in a little retail place, a little retail office. And it was right next to a medical office where women used to come, where they get amphetamines and they get these drugs that repress their appetite. And I would see women who are just a few kilos, like maybe 10 pounds overweight, and they're coming. And then I understand some women need to take it when there's a problem with obesity or whatever. You need to get a health. I understand for medical reasons you may need it. But these are women who are only 10, 15, 20 pounds overweight, which is not, they can just by exercising and doing other things. What appetite is Agni, that your Agni is working properly, right? In an obese person, the Agni that they have, their appetite is not a healthy appetite. It is a fake appetite which is being organized by Vata. I'm not talking about appetite of someone who's 350 pounds and they're always hungry, because they're not eating because they're hungry, they're eating because of the whatever emotional, there's always some emotional thing or mental thing related to that. I'm not talking about that appetite. Someone who has a good healthy appetite means your Agni is working properly. So feed the appetite and you lose weight. Does that make sense? Feed it with vegetables and grains and legumes and a good healthy food, right? And so that's why we always ask, if someone doesn't have an appetite, it is not a good sign, right? So appetite suppressants that are given to these people who are trying to lose weight are bad news. Look at this one. We all want to have a heavier meal during noon, as Pitta and Agni is high at this time today. Everybody should have a lighter dinner. This is kind of universal. Heavier meal during noon. And I was telling you, if I get people who don't want to give up their chicken or meat or whatever, and they don't want to give it up, but I make them give it up in dinner time, as they have, and which is hard. And then the other compromise I make is Monday to Thursday they are vegetarian, because people, one of the reasons they don't want to give it up is because when they go out with their friends or parties or socialize, they don't want to give it up. And then Friday night to Sunday lunch, they can have whatever they want. They cheat. They can have meat, they can have red meat, they can have alcohol. But starting Sunday night to Friday to Thursday night, they're going to be vegetarian. And that seems to work for a lot of my clients. And for some of them, I just tell them, do not just have a vegetarian dinner and, soup. And that seems to work for everybody, but they'll still cheat on because, you have to think of someone's social life too. And then over-exercising, I get a lot of that, where people are exercising 4 hours a day. That'll vitiate. Overeating, not eating when hungry, or eating when not hungry. Does it make sense? Oh, it's 12 o'clock, I'm not hungry, but I'm going to eat. Oh, I missed a meal and I'm very hungry. Both of them will initiate Agni. So a good appetite signal is, you eat and then you're satiated. That means you have a good appetite. But a wrong appetite is that you've had a full meal and you're still eating, and you're full and you're still eating. Then that's not an appetite, that's an artificial. And of course, we don't want to artificially suppress our appetite. How do doshas affect digestion? Vata is, I told you, prana is the organizer, right? I just told you prana. What is prana is the minute your nose is smelling nice foods, and the minute you're passing by a beautiful bakery and you can smell all that beautiful bread and things cooking and all those smells, the neuroendocrine system is coming into play, which is run by vata, which is run by prana. So your sensory perception, your mastication, then of course the saliva is getting produced, both the kapha. So prana is the organizer. That's what I meant, your neuroendocrine system. Yeah. Then at this time, either the bile secretion is stimulated or inhibited. It is stimulated when the food is coming, and obviously now the digestion is complete. Now it is stopped. That you need to put a stop sign and stop button to it. Is peristalsis gets started, which is the movement of the food in the annavaha srotases, secretions, and now the secretions get. This is all prana is the organizer, vata is the organizer. Pitta, the metabolic, hydrochloric production, enzyme production, metabolic, the CHO digestion. Also protein, fat digestion. And then what is kapha? Kapha is doing the secretion of the fluid lining the gut. And what is kapha doing? This is why people get candida too. What is kapha doing in the intestine? It is, the bacteria cannot live without, where do you think the bacteria live in our gut? If there was no mucosa lining, they live in that mucosa, they live in the kapha, medium of kapha. You know that the mucosa thing in the mucus and the spit, that kapha thing, that's in that spit, in that lining is where the colonization is. So if the intestine would get dry, they would die off. They need the medium of kapha to survive. That's what I mean by that. This is going to be my last slide. Very quickly, this is what I've been talking about. This is your, GI tract in the mouth. in your oral cavity, you have bodhak. And also, like I said, I've written pran here, but pran is your entire neuroendocrine system. The minute you're smelling something, minute you're thinking about something, minute you're looking at beautiful food, things get started. They have gotten started. I mean, I've done classes here about food, and at the end of the class, everybody's so hungry because we've been talking about it. And then, of course, you have, your Pachak Pitta, your Kledaka, and of course, you have Ranjak Pitta, the whole production of bile, and that is being organized by prana. Bile gets, now that, it's getting sunk in, and now it is not needed and it needs to stop. That is being done here. And then, of course, the function of the pancreatic duct, again, it is part of Ranjak Pitta, which we did last time. And then as the food is in the intestine, Saman and Apan are coming into play. So Bodhak, Pran, Pachak, Kledak, Saman, Apan, Ranjak, and Pran is the organizer, but it's not directly related. So I think you should go back and go through the slideshow once again, because it's kind of a little hard to digest. Pardon my pun. Hard to digest. Okay. Yeah? And then I think if you have any questions, bring in the next class. That's what Annavaha Srotas are. It just means Annavahanam Srotasam Amashayo Moolam Vama Parsvacha. That it's that Sanskrit name for stomach is Amashai. The left side of the body is Vama Parshva. It's just information. And yeah, we already discussed it. Why, the same reason what vitiates Annavaha Shrotas are the same thing that vitiates the Agni. Eating heavy foods, unwholesome foods. And we are going to be discussing all of that. Bloating, lack of appetite, thirst, constipation. Yeah, chardi, vomiting, and nausea. I will discuss that. So you don't have to discuss. We will be discussing this in there. This I'm going to take up in the next class. Okay? That is true, Shujan. Your nose is blocked. You can't smell it. The pran is not flowing. How can you enjoy your food when the nose is blocked? Exactly.